Ferrari is one of the main front runners for this year's Formula 1 season, but that doesn't mean that the prancing horse are problem-free with how their cars work. They're still dealing with the issue of porpoising, but not as much as the current defending constructors champion Mercedes, and people have said it's because they copied Red Bull's design to stop the porpoising, and it only took them a couple of days to steal it. So today, we're going to be talking about what the Scuderia has done to gain more chances of winning by minimizing porpoising in their cars. And yes, it looks like they copied a tiny component from Red Bull. It's all happening under the floor of the cars, where it looks like Ferrari has stolen and redesigned a tiny component that had only been introduced by Red Bull in Imola. What component? It's all about these tiny little metal bits called skids under the floor. But they could be the answer to the bouncing on the straights caused by the heavy porpoising we are seeing this year. And Ferrari was quick to react to what they saw at Red Bull by introducing their own kind of skids at the Pirelli 2023 tyre tests at Imola only a couple of days after the Imola GP. Now, for starters, the porpoising problem has plagued F1 cars this season. It's been the bane of the 2022 season, and the results show it badly affects them because when drivers try to increase their speed, which is the mechanics for Formula 1, and the load is created by the floor, the diffuser stalls, granting a bumpy ride for the driver. And there are only quite a few teams who've managed to overcome the issue through a bunch of trial and error and a whole lot of engineering tactics. It's been costing a lot of teams some points, and the most notable one would be Mercedes, who have been lagging, quite a far fetch from the defending champion. Other front runners Red Bull and Ferrari were not safe from this problem either. But what sets them apart from all other teams who have been facing the same dilemmas is that they already found their solution to it, and it's nothing short of genius. Their solutions are kind of the same, which is why some people just copied each other. But in truth is that they have the modifications that they tailor-fitted to their cars, and it's all about the flaws. So what about the flaws now, you ask? On the race back of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, Ferrari driver Carlos Sainz was generous enough to let people get a peek at what was going on under the F175. And back then, the flaw could be seen without the skids. Now, back to the Pirelli 2023 tyre testing a couple of days after the Imola GP, here we could see Ferrari driving with a completely redesigned floor, which did have those tiny metal bits at the underside of the floor called skids. Now, there are a lot of factors to consider when you're trying to solve the porpoising problem. You don't want to be rash about your decisions because one component fix may pose another problem for you. When you try to copy other teams' solutions, you really cannot be too confident about that because it's a completely different model from your own. That's suicide at this point. However, with all of that being said, the good thing about this problem is that the cause for it isn't necessarily hard to find. So in the case of Scuderia Ferrari, one of the main causes for their car's porpoising is the flex of the floor. So they're putting in a lot of time and effort to address that. Hence why they're now copying the skids design that helped Red Bull gain a massive advantage in mitigating the porpoising problem. For a bit more of an explanation for some of you guys there, and to put it simply, if the car's floor flexes, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it does have its benefits to consider, like it can help a car drive faster. Such that when a car accelerates, it can manage to adjust to all the air that's going through as it's speeding, so it'd be easier for the vehicle to just breeze through. However, if the floor flexes in the wrong way, or in other words too much, then it's going to do the complete opposite and would not benefit you in any way. It'll make your car go slower and less reliable because it would have the possibility of the floor touching the tracks, seeing the F1 cars go as low as they could, so that would not be a smooth ride. Also, not to mention, we think Ferrari may have also hit two birds with one stone, since in the process of trying to solve their problem, they've also managed to lessen their car's weight through its measure. And they've done this through skids. Skids, in the most basic sense, are just a little titanium metal component attached diagonally and designed to skid on the tracks and prevent the floor from deforming in the area right in front of the rear wheels while the car is running. That would allow the floor to still flex, but only to a certain extent that doesn't prohibit a car from running. A little side note about why reducing a car's weight is also a significant development for them is that most cars right now are struggling to get their weight closer to the minimum required by the FIA. Some cars are even overweight. It's not a very easy problem to fix, so the engineers deserve some massive hats off for this. But anyway, back to the flaws. It took the Ferrari team by surprise when they came to observe it, but they did not want to wait long enough to figure out what makes their cars act like they're on pogo sticks. And Ferrari, being Ferrari, had adjusted and modified their cars to correct it. But we have to say a disclaimer that it didn't solve it, but it did lessen the repercussions and increase trigger speeds. The new floor was first tried by Charles Leclerc during practice back in Melbourne, but Carlos Sainz was the first one who brought it to an actual race. Back in Imola, Ferrari found the opportunity to test out some new floors that they have installed on the F175. Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto has emphasized in an interview that their strategy to make their cars better is to address the main issues that they're facing right now before moving on to significant updates, which in this case is the porpoising phenomenon. And now they have introduced an even further updated floor at the Pirelli testing days, introducing the newly designed SKIDS. Now, remember those skids that I said just a while ago? This is where it begins. Ferrari probably already had this plan in their garage for a while now, and they have a lot more than that in store. The reason for this is that they've seen this before the actual races began, so they immediately worked on it quickly to have it resolved before it would cost them much more, and before the effects could become irreversible. Especially after seeing Red Bull implementing the design just a couple of days earlier, which immediately asked for a reaction from the Scuderia. With Ferrari, the porpoising problem is only evident when it's driving at very high speeds, which has proven to be an advantage for them, because it helps a lot with effective braking that allows the restoration of the car's balance, which ensures a better driving experience when it's cutting through corners. Having all the porpoising problems fixed definitively would be of an incredible help to Ferrari, because if they have one less problem on their plate now, they can go on with the full power of the 0667 power unit that was proven to be the best when it's going through long speed straights and in fast corners. So now, Ferrari are hoping that the newly designed floor and the introduction of the skids will help their cars reach their full potential. With all the upgrades and updates put in place to be used in the upcoming races, we're all still bound to see how effective it is in trying to gain championship points. But for the most to say, porpoising is a phenomenon that will not be going away anytime soon, because it's something very inevitable. And with that, it's only the beginning of the upgrades that are yet to come this year. And that's all there is to Ferrari's new updates. Do you think they took a lot of inspiration out of Red Bull's floor updates? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you saw, there's a whole lot more coming on our channel, so please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to be notified the next time we upload. That's all for now. We'll see you at the next one.